These streets, these rows of miners' cottages, were once the thriving heart of the community in one of the most prosperous areas for mining in Cornwall. But today, these are low-income housing units that are really the backdrop for people that are really struggling. But watch till the end of the video, folks, because it's not all bad news. And I have come across a wonderful couple who have started up an endeavour that's really helping the local community. So make sure you stay tuned to the end for a little ray of light at the end of this depressing story. When most people think of Cornwall, the very southwestern tip of the UK, they think of amazing, rugged coastal scenery like this. But just a few miles from where I am on the north coast today, there's a tale of inequality and deprivation. So stick around till the end of this video as we take to the streets of Camborne, one of the poorest places in the UK, to see how the 2022 cost of living crisis in the UK has affected the locals there. It's only 100 years or so since mining made Camborne in Cornwall one of the richest parts of the UK. But it's a completely different story now. A lot of inequality, a lack of opportunities for local people, and one of the places that's been hardest hit by the cost of living crisis in 2022. So let's wander around the streets. It's a Saturday, people are out shopping, families are out buying what they need. So let's talk to some people and see how the cost of living crisis has affected them. Two questions really.
Yeah.
One, how's it affected you? And two, do you think it's affected the wider community?
I can see it's affected the wider community a lot. A lot of my friends are suffering more than I am.
Yeah.
I lived quite a simple life before, so you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had to cut back on things I like all the streaming services I used to use, they're all gone now.
Yeah.
We're going out to eat less in cafes and instead come in and get pasty and a coffee. But yeah, if it gets much worse than this, I think we'll have to start, like everyone else, choosing between electric or gas
Really?
or food.
Yeah. So how has the rising cost of living affected you so far this year?
So far this year, well, when it comes to food, milk, for instance, has now become a luxury I can't afford.
Okay.
It's gone up by like 50%. No mathematician, but I've really had to cut back on what people call basics. How
does it make you feel as well? I mean, I live in the local area. How does it make you feel when just like a few miles down the road, places like St Ives, there's £1 million properties, people that are like insulated from these problems, and then you come to places like Camborne, Red Roof, Penzance, and it's very real?
Yeah, it don't make me feel very good at all, to be honest. Second homes is something else that really does get to me. I don't know, catch me in a couple of beers' time.
Yeah, maybe I'll come back in an hour's time. You'll be a bit more, yeah. No, I appreciate you talking to me.
No problem, my friend.
Camborne's a really interesting case in point, because it's only 100 years ago that this was one of the most prosperous places in the UK, if not Northern Europe, due to the mining industry. And just to see the difference today, I just thought it would be the best place to come and talk to people about these issues.
And actually, another example is Red Roof.
Yeah.
I'm from Red Roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, it used to be one of the richest communities in Europe back in the heyday of the mining. Now all the mines are closed. Red Roof is now, it's not dying, it's dead. Cornwall has basically become a resort for retired Tories. But also a lot of properties are empty because somebody else owns them and they're second homes.
Yeah. Do you find that immoral?
Yeah, I do, yeah. When I've been homeless myself in the past. And quite recently as well, I've now got myself, or thanks to Coastline, they sort me out a place down the road.
At least you can get 2 Jaeger bombs for a £5 in the cost of living crisis 2022. If you can't buy your milk, at least you can Jaeger bomb your problems away. Yeah, as I mentioned earlier on when I was talking to one of the people there, it's only a few miles away that there are £1 million plus properties in St Ives Bay and other coastal villages not far from here. But the picture is very different here in Camborne. And a lot of these expensive properties in coastal towns, villages, almost resorts of their own right now, they stand empty through winter when people don't want to come to this part of Cornwall on holiday, and yet you've got people suffering with homelessness and deprivation in Camborne and places that are similar, places like Redroof.
It's made us cut back on one or two things.
Yep.
I tend to go more to buy a big package to get it cheaper.
And how does it make you feel when you know, like places like St Ives down the road where there's £1 million houses that are empty for half the year?
Annoying.
So I have come across a few sad stories of how people are really struggling as I've wandered the high street in Camborne, but I'm just about to come into Terrific Market now to talk to Ross and Louise, who are some people who've started something really positive in the community here. They've got a startup called the Baby Den and also a cafe where they make affordable meals for people that are really struggling, and a place for people who are struggling bringing up children to gather as a community.
So we've got the baby shop, the baby den and the cafe, which is a community interest company, all not for profit.
Yeah.
And we take donations of baby clothes in return for providing free groups,
Awesome,
support to mothers, which obviously really helps them out. We got, obviously with everything going on, they can't pay for support and pay to go and see people. My wife is an infant feeding early years specialist, and she's got, rather than charging an hourly rate, they're able to come in here completely free of charge.
Awesome, yeah.
You know, to use our services. Just gas and electric has just gone up to £400 a month, and we're here 12, 14 hours a day, and we literally just sleep at home. We're still paying all of that, so I can't imagine what other people's charges are like now. They often mention how it's getting worse and how much they love being able to just come here because they can't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's so just not affordable.
This is a bit of release for them. Yeah. They can interact with each other.
Well, this is it.
Things that they can get hold of. Yeah.
You know, our baby clothes are. I'll make a point of being half the price of charity shops, because you walk around the charity shops because even they're feeling the impact.
Yeah.
And so they've had to put their prices up.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a really moral thing, really ethical thing that you're doing here, mate. Yeah.
So we make no money out of this. We literally put in all of our time just to serve the community.
So what's the name of your shop? Is there any way where people can look at it online as well?
Yes, yeah, with the Baby Den. So we're available on Instagram, Facebook, and I believe we have a website. That's my wife's area. That.
Yeah.
And this is Terrific Cafe, which is part of Cornwall Bumps and Beyond CIC, the mother company for the two.
Yeah.
And it's just growing bigger and better. We have groups running out of here every morning, 10 till 12, 6 days a week. This morning was a reading group. We had about 20 mothers and around 30 children running around here this morning. Yeah. If you come back down at any morning, if you want to talk to people, they're probably the ideal people to talk to.
So people can like DM you on Instagram and you'll pick up that.
Yeah, we'll pick that up.
Like even if I just want somewhere to come and just be social, if they're struggling, but also if they want to come and pick up half price like baby clothes, stuff like that, then that's awesome. Yeah.
I put the play cage in, even though it loses me 2 table spaces. I put that in so that mums can chuck the kids in there and actually enjoy a cup of coffee without a child climbing all over them.
Have some adult time.
Sometimes it's the only break they get all day.
Yeah, sometimes for mental health, that's the difference between a good and a bad day, and then
we have various different Greek facilitators as well. So we've got people like came in this morning to do the book reading. There's my wife who does all the infant feeding stuff. We've got one member of staff, so we've managed to employ a local single mum.
How many volunteers have you got?
We've got 6 in total.
Yeah.
You know, regular volunteers plus other people who literally just drop in, leave the baby with me and go and sort baby clothes for a couple of hours.
Have you seen like an upturn in the need for what you're doing here in the last 6 months with everything that's going on, with bills going up, you know, accommodation bills, fuel bills, the list goes on?
Yes, so core needs that we've seen is people suddenly needing to replace lots of items because they've had to move out of their family home quickly due to eviction because of things like end of tenancy and tenancy being turned over to either the retail market or to tourism. So that's meant lots of our families have been made homeless. So we've had to provide emergency packs for those families because they've had to move between homes with everything in storage. We've also seen people suddenly struggling with electric bills that have pretty much doubled, which means that they could comfortably feed their children before and they can't now. So that means that families that have never had to use food banks or baby banks or come to places like this are now having to rely on them. And that can be a really big shift emotionally and psychologically as well, as because it's part of your identity, isn't it? Being able to provide for your children.
Of course,
so we see the emotional side of that impact a lot. We want to be able to reach as many people and support them as possible.
Yeah.
Even outside of our group times, people are always welcome. We're open 9 till 3 every day, so people can always welcome if they're having a rubbish day, especially with small children, when you feel shut indoors and it's raining. Just come in here, because we'll always sit you down for a cuppa and have a chat and play with your little ones while you relax for a little while as well.
So what I've discovered walking around Camborne today and talking to the local people is that people are struggling ever more in this poorer part of Cornwall, but there is a great sense of community in this area, and people like Ross and Louise have really pulled together to try and make opportunities for people who are struggling. So this is a part of Cornwall that shouldn't be passed upon when you come and visit, folks. There's a lot of heritage, a lot of culture, and a lot of positive local spirit, which should be highlighted more. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you've enjoyed it, please put a thumb up. It really helps tickle the algorithm, show the video to more people. If you've got any questions about any of the issues that we spoke about today, or if you'd like to know more about Ross and Louise's endeavour to try and help the community, then please drop a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed already, then please click that button, click the bell notification so that you get notified of any new videos that I put up. Until next time, folks, right on.